Hello guys, how you doing? This is Alexander Buster Deputy, and I am with the beautiful Mrs. Cassie Deputy for Deputy Tribe, and we are here. Just wanting to just share with you guys a couple things and some exciting things that we are doing as a family, and we will just like to extend that to you guys. So just here you go. We all know how crazy the last year has been. Okay, 2020 has been really crazy, and I would be safe to say that nobody really expected this. It just happened, and it's still a shock to some of us. But we still need to function. We still need to live our lives, even when it seems a lot harder. Okay, and so the idea of us pushing back, against everything that has happened, particularly with COVID and the mask wearing and just how it's just getting out of hand.
And the censorship.
Yep.
Everything going on.
Yep.
So I think there's really two reasons why people aren't pushing back.
Yep.
And one of them is I think they're just uninformed. Yep. I don't think maybe people don't know what's going on, how dangerous it is, how to gather information and think for themselves. Mm-hmm. And then the second reason is I don't think people know practically how to push back. Like what within their realm can they practically do, mm-hmm. just as a normal American family, yep. to push back in a really big and effective way. Yep. So that's what we're going to break down today is...
Yep. 6 ways.
6, I say 7 different ways that you can push back.
Okay, so you can push back. The first way is knowledge is power. Okay, so know the U.S. Constitution, all right, and know the founding documents. Okay, know that first. You need to know it, or else what exactly are you fighting for?
Right.
On what foundation are you standing on? Right. So know the U.S. Constitution and know our state executive orders.
That's number 2. But on the Constitution part, there is a program that my husband teaches.
Like that in
yes. So we'll include the link below if you want to go through that course yourself. Mm-hmm. If you do live in Minnesota or even in Wisconsin, it would be worth the drive to attend his class physically. He teaches it twice a year. It's 12 weeks long, and it's incredible. Yep. And a bunch of people show up, and you get to discuss how the Constitution applies to what's going on, and you get to bounce ideas off each other, work through situations, and by the time you graduate, you get a really amazing handle on what the Constitution says and how it applies to us today. So if you're interested in that, check out the link below or contact him to join his next class. Yep. So that would be number 1. Number 2 is know your executive order.
Okay. Your executive order. Minnesota State Executive Order on page 13 at the bottom, of course. It says that this is voluntary. The governor asked us to all voluntarily comply. But yet stores and people that are masked Nazis are acting as if we have to do this.
Right. Nowhere in the executive order does it say one must wear a mask or you must comply. It doesn't say that at all in there. Yeah. And in fact, it actually lists, it's really interesting. So I think almost 2 or 3 pages of the executive order is exemptions. Yeah. Who is exempt from voluntarily complying to this executive order. And if you read through the exemptions, you will absolutely fit one of them. But if you don't, the very last exemption is individual rights. Mm-hmm. If you choose not to do it because you have a right to your property, which is your body, then you don't have to wear a mask. It also lists exactly what businesses can and cannot do to enforce the executive order. They cannot remove you from their store. They cannot refuse service. And the only thing they can do is post signs on their door. So just with that information alone, I'm sure you've encountered a situation in a store where they have violated that. And they've violated far more than that, which is another video on its own. So hopefully we'll do a video on if a store pushes back, what to do down the road. But know your executive order.
Yep. Number 3 then, since it's number 2 on my list.
Yes.
Number 3, contact your state representative and talk to them and urge them to end the governor's executive orders. Because this was supposed to be a 2 week thing
In Minnesota.
in Minnesota, but now we're into a year.
Well, 2 weeks, max 30 days.
Max 30
And
days,
it's a year
but now
next
it's
month.
a year. So that is another video.
That's another video.
Okay, so yes.
But here's the other thing. So you want to contact your state senator and your state house rep, and you can find those on your state website. The other thing you can do is go to your state website, and there's a bill tracker, and you can follow certain bills. There's a bill in the House right now that Governor Walz is trying to make the mask mandate law, which tells you
it's not law.
it's not law right now.
Right. So why is he trying to make it law?
So you can follow this bill. So bills jump from committee to committee. A committee is just like a group of the representatives that represent a certain like finance committee or election committee, right? So these bills hop from committee to committee. They get voted on and moved. Well, they're supposed to get voted on and moved. And then they move from the House, they move to the Senate, they vote collectively, and then it becomes a law. So follow that bill, contact those people that are on those committees and let them know how you feel about it. Or better yet, show up and testify at those committee hearings, because the public, according to the Constitution, absolutely has to be able to attend and voice their concerns at every committee meeting that goes on.
Right? The number 4 is the mask. Stop wearing them.
Stop wearing a mask.
Stop wearing them. And why should we stop wearing them?
Well, because you're participating in the very oppression that you don't want to come here. I mean, it starts with a mandatory mask and moves to a mandatory vaccination, which then moves to a mandatory identification, which means then you will be refused basic rights and civil liberties because you're not complying with whatever the new mask is. If it doesn't stop here, name one time the government has ever taken something and then given it back.
Social Security.
Name one. What about road tolls? When has a road toll, we're just going to keep this toll up till the road's paid for? When have they ever taken a road toll down, guys?
Yeah.
They will never stop this.
Yep.
They will never give us any of this freedom back. So you need to stop wearing it.
Yeah.
And you have to think, well, what does that look like? For us, we've worn a mask once this entire pandemic. Once. Yep. And it was an emergency because our daughter broke her arm. And
even with that, we took it off.
And we took it off halfway into it, and they weren't very happy, but too bad.
Yeah, exactly.
But this means that you will get kicked out of stores, and you will
have to find alternative.
and you can find alternative stores,
Yep.
or you can push back, which is another video in itself. It's time for us to find those grassroots people. If you need an ultrasound, you find an ultrasound tech that respects freedom, and you support them, and your money and your business goes to them, and everyone you know, all of their business goes to them. You find that x-ray person who has an x-ray machine, and these are literal examples that we have done because we will not wear a mask.
See, the mask, it's not about the mask. The mask represents something even bigger. And that's what people need to understand, because I know people will watch this video and say, well, they are anti-maskers. It's not about the mask. The mask represents something even bigger. All right?
And if you're from another country, you understand it quicker than people from America do. Or if you're well versed in your history, you understand the importance of why this is so crucial that we push back on this mask mandate. So stop wearing it.
Oh, I get it. Okay, the next one, number 6 is number 5.
Number 5
is stop shopping at the big box stores.
Why?
Well, these big box stores, if you look at COVID-19 and
by big box you mean
like the Walmarts,
Costco,
Target,
Amazon,
like these big stores. And because they are the ones that are really pushing this thing. They are really being they are pushing it on hyperdrive. And literally using their employees to violate people's liberty. So we need to not support them because we are in turn making them wealthy while our freedom and liberties are being taken away. So that's why we need to stop supporting them. And we need to start supporting the smaller local.
I was going to say there's a second reason.
There's a second reason.
COVID-19 really hurt the middle class.
Yes.
Here in America.
Yep.
We're the only country in the world that has such a solid middle class.
Yeah. We have a larger middle class than any other country. We have a smaller, poorer class and a even smaller wealthy class.
And so making this transition, you have to understand, will cost you. But it's important that you understand what it will cost you if you don't.
Yeah.
So a good example is me and the kids. We're learning American history right now, and we were just recently studying the War of Independence. You probably know it as the American Revolution,
which I hate, by the way.
We call it the War of Independence. Yes. And the Boston Harbor was under siege by Britain, so they weren't allowing, because of that Boston Tea Party where they refused to be paid crazy taxes, they dumped all the tea into the bay or the harbor or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so the British stopped allowing the Boston Harbor to have trade come in. So the people of Boston were hurting. They were starving. They weren't able to make ends meet. They, weren't able to stock their stores, but they stood united and they made a decision that they will not support the British, whatever it costs them, because they knew that if they did, they'd be supporting the very tyranny that was going to kill them in the end anyways. And so there were a few people in the story we were reading that caved because they were scared they wouldn't be able to feed their family or make ends meet. And so the people ostracized them and said, no, if that's the way you're going to go, then we're not going to buy from your store. And the very suffering they were trying to avoid, they ended up bringing upon themselves. But you have to understand, this is the reason why we defeated the world power of that time. Because we stood on our convictions. We understood that freedom will cost us. It will cost us.
It will.
If it doesn't cost us something, then it means nothing. And freedom especially is very, very hard to hold on to. It's going to cost us our time. I mean, we have to drive quite a bit to get to stores that will support our freedom and allow us to shop there. It'll cost you your money. I mean, currently we're getting food from a couple farmers that are very far away, and their meat is not cheaper than Costco meat. I think we're still okay. Their meat is not cheaper than Costco meat. And then the other company, I'll put a link below, is called Azure Standard. And they support small local farms and they deliver, and that's where we're getting all of our pantry goods. Mm-hmm. But as far as like Amazon and Walmart, we're still working that out, but it's a work in progress.
Yeah, it's very minimal.
But if we all with our dollars made a difference and just stopped funding this crazy system, you'd notice a huge change.
Okay. The next one is we stop using the big social medias like the Twitter and the Facebook and the Instagram and all of these guys, which the election really showed us where their allegiance are. These are supposed to be impartial entities that just give out the facts, just be neutral. But we know where their allegiance lies after this election. It is very evident. So we know. So there is no need for us to continue to be supporting these guys. Find alternative news media places, alternative sites like Parler. What is the other one? Me, whatever they call themselves, and then
Jump.
The Jump.
It's another
and then
so it either is like leave them entirely or slowly transition to using other ones. I know like YouTube is one that we use quite a bit still. And then his campaign stuff is all on Facebook, so that's an area that we're holding on to. But our personal accounts, we've either shut down, deleted the apps off our phone, and not really used much for the sake of keeping these two avenues alive. But And then another one is your email account. If you're using Gmail or Yahoo or any of those big ones, switch.
Yeah.
We switched to Proton Mail, which we really like. It's encrypted.
I really like it. Yep.
And it's not connected to a big company. It's actually out of Switzerland, I believe.
Yep. And you know them Swiss, they are very they hold on to everything. Swiss, right?
Swiss.
They hold on to everything. Hey man, they are very tight when it comes to security. So
yeah.
All right. Last one, I promise you, is get involved in your local state politics, your local city council, school board meetings. Go to those.
Go to the meetings.
Go to the meetings.
At least listen to what's going on. Meet people.
Testify if you have to.
Follow bills.
Yep.
Meet your legislature. Talk to them.
And then also to find a candidate that you can support. And get involved in their cause. Get involved in their platform and start going out and representing them and serving them. Because
I think it's called
volunteer.
We're Christians, so serving is
it's a way.
But like election cycles next year, guys. This was a special cycle. So next year is your state legislature, our governor is up for So I'll tell you, after running a campaign, there's nothing more valuable than people who will door knock and lit drop and phone call, and there's nothing more valuable than feet on the ground. The more people that you can go and just drop literature off on doors, get your exercise in, bring your kids. I'm telling you, as running, that was so valuable when people would go with us. 34,000 doors to lit drop them all and door knock, a fourth of them was a huge success.
Yeah.
So that's one really, really impactful way that you can make a difference.
Yeah, and I just hope that you guys were encouraged by this, and we still have hope.
Yes.
We still do, you know. And for us as Christians, we have the ultimate hope in Jesus Christ. But we are to also occupy while we are here, okay? And so I know for me and my family, we are law-abiding citizens, and we want to give back to our
law-abiding.
Yeah, we want to give back to our community, and we want to be good examples. So because of that urges me to want to step out and do things, even if it's not popular, even if it's not politically correct. I want to do what is right, and hope that others will be able to join me and step up and be bold and courageous about it.
There's a lot of us, guys. There's more of us than there is of them. And if we all made these changes, I would even say if we all just took our masks off, the impact that would have. The impact that would have. So go ahead and drop your comments below. Any questions you guys have, any other videos that you want to see. I don't know what else.
That's it.
Give this video a thumbs up and hit subscribe, share it, and that's all. God bless.